Good to have you back. Today we're taking a look at arpeggios in a very sort of specific and I would hope organized way. We have looked at the major 7 arpeggio, and that's just one position. We looked at it in 3 positions, and that's what I want to do today. With the dominant 7th arpeggio, or the 5 chord. Now, first of all, what is an arpeggio? And by the way, this is for those of you who want to learn how to play over changes, and do so, with a degree of understanding, and with a systematic approach that you can practice and understand. Okay. So what is an arpeggio? An arpeggio is, I've heard the term over and over, and it's not a bad one, broken chord. In other words, it's a linear representation of a vertical chord, right? Or a horizontal representation of a chord that's vertical. Vertical meaning that all the notes, if I were to write them down, they would be heard together, right? And when I break them up into an arpeggio, I play the notes in order, one at a time. In this case here, the notes of a G7 arpeggio would be G, B, D, and F, and those notes are taken out of, we could look at them as taken out of the C major scale, starting on the 5th degree of the scale. That's the easiest way to look at it. So we're looking at the 5th degree of the C major scale, C, D, E, F, G, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, with, and we build the arpeggio in tertian harmony, G, B, D, and F, 1, 3, 5, and 7. Okay, and those notes being G, B, D, and F. All right, here is the just the arpeggio written, G, B, D, and F on the staff. This is the difference between a G7 and a G major 7. A G major 7 is not to be confused with a G7 or a G dominant type 7. A G major 7 has a raised 7th, and a G7 has a 7th that's a tone below the tonic. All right, semitone below the tonic, tone below the tonic. Another way to look at it is a G7 is a minor 7, from here to here is a minor 7, from here to here in a G major is a major 7th interval, okay? And they not only do they sound very different, but they have different functions. Any chord that's written C7, D7, E7, A7, B7, whatever the case is, has a dominant function. It wants to return to its tonal center. It has lots of tension built into this arpeggio. Okay, into this chord sound. Arpeggio, single notes, chord, the notes are heard polyphonically. All right, now here's the fretboard. Here's what we're doing on the fretboard. I'm using common voicings. There's a G7. My root is on the 6th string. And here's the arpeggio. You can hear right. That's, doesn't sound terribly exciting, but the notes are definitely right if you're playing over a G dominant 7th chord. All right, so you can create lines out of arpeggios, and it gives you a template that you can express what is a polyphonic sound. So you can express the polyphonic sound with the notes that are in the chord. Okay, and here we have a root on 5th string G7, and I have to move all the way up here. It doesn't, play it as another G7 and add the arpeggio. Right, just in the interest of keeping them G7s. Still just the same notes, G, B, D, and F, right? So I have this chord, and now I have this chord. You can hear that they're the same, and now I'll do this root on second string chord. I say root because that's the naming note of the chord. And here's my arpeggio. Now, what this is all leading to, there is a method here somewhere, is that what is happening here is hopefully a pathway to systematic and progressive improvement and understanding. So if you work this type of thing into a practice routine, I would suggest something like this. Here is that first arpeggio, and then you can move up. Now G sharp. The arpeggio always follows the chord. You get the idea, right? Excellent practice. I'll take this one that's way up here in outer space. I'll just move it down here to C. C sharp. Get the idea. Work your way through the entire fretboard. The fingerings always remain the same, right? So you put together the arpeggio along with its chord form, and you can't go wrong. Okay, and here I'll just, rather than play it up here in 8th position, I'll just move it down here. Here's my root D. Here's my chord D7. All right, does that make sense? So we've got three chord forms or chord voicings. And we're taking those chord voicings and expressing them in single notes, in horizontal line or linear, if you like, and we're only using just the notes of the arpeggio. Now, if you wanted to do something simple with these chords, like let's say we're in the key of A, right, and then Now, if you want to do something simple, something else that is effective here for practice, we can take a simple 12-bar blues using only these chords here, and then arpeggiate the chords. So let's do a 12-bar blues, like 1, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Just keep it simple. No fancy changes. 4 chord, back to the 1 chord. You can do this in any key, and 5, 4, and 1. Turn around. Okay, good. You've heard progressions like that many times before. Now, if I want to take a progression like this, imagine there's a backing track. I'm not going to use a backing track, and all I'm going to do is play arpeggiate those chords. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I did throw in a 13 there somewhere and a sus4, but that's okay. You can hear that that the chords are being expressed, and the chord progression is very clear. You don't even have to use a backing track. You can just work on putting those arpeggios down on the fretboard. Now, because the arpeggio follows the chord, you can of course play in any key. So we could do exactly what I just did in the key of G. We could do it in the key of B flat. That I won't take that too much further. You can just one step further. You can also take exactly the same 12-bar blues progression, and you can play it further up the fretboard. So let's say we're playing it down here in the key of G, and then to C, and then to D, and back to G. Right? Why don't we take it up to here? G. G is what I meant. And then to C, and then to D, and just using only the same chords, right? We could go, or we could go G, C, D, G, and because the arpeggios follow the chord, and then the 5, we could just take it down here. And then we could take this down here to the C. And so on, right? So you can take these chords and play them in two different regions of the fretboard, right? These are really common chord forms, and there's lots of chords that you can build from those. So chords and arpeggios, the chords and the arpeggios go together, and that should give you just a whole ton of stuff to do if you want to lean in the direction where you want to play up and down the fretboard and you want to play simple solos in any style. It doesn't matter. You can make a few alterations and all of these arpeggios all of a sudden sound jazzy, which we won't bother with right now. But this gives you a strong, firm foundation, strong, firm template, and that I know will move you forward and systematically and progressively. Those are important words when it comes to the use of your time and your practice time, right? So again, this is for those who want to move in this direction, who want to figure out the fretboard, who want to understand how to play rhythm and play solos and play with other people and converse in a language that we all have in common. All right, that's good for today, I think. Thanks for stopping by, and I'm sure we'll see you again real soon. Happy New Year. See ya.